G'day viewers, how are you this fine day? Welcome to a weekend edition of TFU. Didn't do it sooner, well, for a couple of reasons. Namely because I buggered my shoulder up and I'm having trouble sleeping, which has made me all disoriented and has made it hard to focus during the day. But I thought, bugger me, I've been putting this off for like almost 2 days now. I'll do it. And I had a couple messages on the socials in the last week to the effect of, hey, you haven't had a trumpet go. Did I mention I'm having trouble focusing? We'll see how I go. Yes, I'd had people say, you haven't had a go at Trump recently. How about it? Well, why not? Because he's certainly provided a lot of material in the last week or two. But of course, he always does. And starting with the really obvious stuff, like after the school shooting in Florida, he jumped on the ridiculous bandwagon of saying, oh, you know what the solution is? Arm teachers, which is a shit stupid idea on a number of levels. But even just on one level, teachers are the wrong people to have guns. You can't train them adequately. Even if you get all the reasons why it's not, I would like someone who genuinely thinks this is a good idea to explain how you'd fund it. Because appropriate firearms training, and I'm not even suggesting to the extent police have, although it should be if they're expected to act as armed response units. They should have the same training as police do, which is quite a lot, but even just a base level of training, and there are millions of teachers in America. How in fuck would you fund it? I mean, it's kind of clear why the NRA pushes this, because it would require the purchasing of millions of guns. And the NRA represents gun makers, not gun owners, not ordinary citizens. They're a complete fucking sham. But how would you pay for it? Honestly, I've not seen anyone provide a remotely sensible answer to that. Let's assume it's a good idea. It isn't, but let's assume it is. How do you fund it? Like, it would be insanely expensive, and it isn't a one-off expense. You need recurring training in firearms to be safe, and it's just a distraction. It's just meanness, and it's absolutely predictable that Trump jumped on that bandwagon. Not so predictable about a week later, when out of the blue, as like, with all the politicians around the media, he started saying stuff that made the Democrats look like the NRA, just out of the blue. This is what I'm calling it. It's like President Brain Fart. Trump is governing by brain farts. Like, we're all used to the fact that he spouts absolutely ridiculous stuff on Twitter and regularly tweets astoundingly dangerous stuff on Twitter. It's like he's debased the office of the president so much. Like, it's supposed to be the most powerful individual in the world, and there's a fuckload of responsibility that goes with that, and acting like a Twitter troll doesn't really fit, honestly. It's bad enough when he does it on Twitter, but on a semi-regular basis, he does it in real life too. Stuff that, and here's me, I honestly hope it's just he hasn't thought about it. It's just brain farts that just spit out, because if he's thought about it, that's even worse. But when he's with all the politicians of both sides and the media and starts saying, hey, you know what we should do? We've got to have more gun control. And people are like, oh, really? Really? And then he starts saying stuff that's straight up illegal. Like, I don't even think we should do due process. I think if you don't like the look of someone, take their guns away. Worry about the courts later as like, okay, sure. I mean, now, the obvious thing is he's never following through on this. He never follows through on anything. He suffers no responsibility for anything he says or does. He's just repeatedly said and done the most ridiculous, stupid, outrageous shit. He's never held to account. He doesn't have to follow through on anything. He can just mouth off. He's going, I could just say stuff that I think these people want to hear, and I don't have to take any responsibility. I mean, fuck, I got elected by telling blatant fucking lies non-stop. So, hey, why don't I just keep doing it? Shake things up. Or, I don't know, maybe he just woke up in a funny mood. Maybe he's like, you know what? I think the Republicans are getting too complacent. I think I have to whip them into line, because he is a severely autocratic individual, and he doesn't like the idea of having to play along with anyone. And I think maybe he thought the Republicans were getting a bit uppity, as if they were a governing party or something. And he's going, no, I want to make it clear to them they're totally dependent on me, which is a thing he's astonishingly good at doing. One guy beating down the whole Republican Party machine and making them do what he wants. I mean, the whole election campaign, everyone establishment in the Republicans was saying Trump will never get the nomination, okay? And even after he got the nomination, a lot of people still were willing to stand up and say, I can't endorse him because he's an awful person. And he's beaten them. He's crushed them and made them come crawling back to him. My favourite one is probably still Mitt Romney, who was the highest profile person who took a principled stand against Trump right up until Trump got power and then went crawling back. And Trump has taken great glee in publicly humiliating them and even endorsing Romney's run for Senate in Utah. It's like, hey, Romney's great, vote for him. But it's also a backhander, as in, you want my endorsement, motherfucker. And simpering little Romney has eaten it all up, despite in the past categorically saying he wouldn't accept endorsement from Trump, knowing what he's like. It's just hilarious how much he beats them. And just out of the blue, just saying to Republicans, no, you're going to have to do what the Democrats say. Oh, and I think, yeah, even go further. Just, take guns away from people arbitrarily. And it's just like, obviously he's not going to follow up on it. Maybe he just wants the NRA to give him a couple $1 million. I don't know. Obviously the NRA are going to front up into his office and Trump will go, sure, everything you want is exactly what will happen. So I don't know if it's like, just like random brain farts, maybe exacerbated by the onset of dementia, or just a broken emotional and mental state brought about by the fact his father never told him he loved him, or even that he thought he was adequate, or whether he's doing it as a joke. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe he's completely in control of his faculties. Evidence doesn't really support that. But hey, maybe he's in complete control of his faculties and it's just a fucking joke. He's just like, well, I've got here. I actually can't go further than this. This is the top of the pile. I just want to fucking humiliate some people. I'm going to make them into a joke. I'm going to make them squirm. I'm going to make it absolutely clear that I own them, that I don't have to play by their rules, that they have to do what I say when I say it. And by God, he's incredibly effective at it. And then out of the blue, he starts going, trade war, okay? I think America suffers with trade agreements and, we're going to really fuck over foreign countries that I think get too good a deal. And he singled out steel and aluminium imports to the US, and I'm going to put a tariff on them, okay? Because we've got bad trade wars. Now, of course, interestingly, on virtually any trade agreement ever with anyone, you can always paint it and say, here's things that are unfair to our side. Because if there wasn't give and take, it would obviously be unfair. But he can point to stuff and quite accurately say, oh, I see that as being unfair. But to just start spouting on Twitter about, gonna have a trade war, that's never going to end well. And of course, the EU and China in particular, who he's singling out, have made it pretty clear they'll retaliate as well. They'll just put tariffs on American goods. And this will fuck up particularly American primary production exports, farm exports, because it's not that much else that gets exported from the US these days. Maybe jeans, that was singled out in the EU. Levi jeans will get an excise put on them. And bourbon. Apparently bourbon's a very big export as well. And it's just like, that is not bargaining. This is like Trump's 5-year-old brain, that's how you bargain. That's how you do a deal, by acting tough. Reminder, Trump is a spectacularly failed businessman. He would be richer if he'd never touched the money he's inherited and just had it in a low interest-bearing deposit. He's fucked up multiple deals, multiple businesses, multiple bankruptcies. He only stays afloat because of other people's money and because of criminal activity. Let's just tell it like it is. He's not a smart businessman. He doesn't make good deals. And he's gonna fuck over huge parts of America with this ridiculous talk. My favourite part was the aluminium stuff, because this will hurt Trump and he will back away from it for this reason. Increasing the cost of aluminium would increase the cost of beer. And the beer makers have already said that. You increase the cost of aluminium, beer prices will go up, sales will suffer, jobs will go. But it doesn't matter, because Trump never has to stick to anything. Trump never has to follow through. Trump never has to take responsibility, because a spineless political structure doesn't make him take responsibility. And let's finish off with the big thing that he really should have taken responsibility and responded to, which, as I make this video, he has made zero public utterance from, and this is Vladimir Putin saying, hey, I can nuke the fuck out of America and you can't stop me. I've got super weapons, you can't stop. And of course, like most people, my first reaction on seeing this propaganda from Putin was, the fuck are you doing? What the fuck? Where is this coming from? Where is the tension and the threat? Why are you randomly threatening that you can nuke America? Where is this coming from? Like, I feel like, is he in the same category as Trump? Is he suffering from some sort of brain troubles? Is he just brain farting out? It's like, is he missing the Cold War? Is that it? Is he missing his old KGB days? And he's going, I miss the Cold War. I want to just ratchet shit up with America. Is it more nefarious? Is it because he intends to expand his territorial claims in the Crimea and other areas, and he's preemptively saying, don't fucking threaten me because I'll fuck you up? Or, you know, is it for a laugh? Is he sees Trump fucking people over and he goes, you know what? They can't do anything to Trump, but I can. And honestly, the P-tape is the least of it. It's the money trail. If Robert Mueller ever gets conclusive evidence of what a lot of people have suggested has been happening with Trump and family and Russia, and it's to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, he's so fucked. And it's obvious Putin knows he completely fucking owns Trump. That's Trump's biggest, most obvious weakness is the fact he is completely and utterly owned by Putin. Where in, you know, post-World War II history has there ever been a time when a Russian or Soviet leader could make such an aggressive statement, such an unprovoked, threatening statement, and the US president says literally nothing? Not even a calm, measured approach. Not even a Weasley, well, he wasn't actually threatening us, but not responding. How fucking weak does Trump have to be before his sad, pathetic, worthless fucking supporters finally realize, oh, wait, he's actually completely empty and weak. Sure, he emboldened us to be the filthy shitbag racists we always were, but he's probably going to destroy our country and get us killed because he's so fucking weak and directionless. That's the thing that always does my head in. He's not even a bully. He acts like a bully, but he's a very weak person's idea of a bully. He's a weak person's idea of the strong man. I know he's strong and threatening, and yet it's so trivially easy to undermine him, and it's incredibly obvious who he answers to, and yet you still have these fuckwits going, Trump is strong, he's gonna lead us, we're gonna be great again. He's going to rape and pillage your country, leave you in the dust, and laugh at you because you fucking fell for it.